All right, welcome back everyone. So this is the first video where we're actually going to get into some of the configuration on the devices for this entire series. So we're going to be looking at getting the ports configured on the MPLS. This is a Cisco Nexus 9KV, as is this internet switch. We're going to get these ports configured with just a simple VLAN assignment. Same thing on the internet box, and that will provide us the reachability between the three firewalls, 1, 2, and 4. A quick housekeeping item, I added another key down the bottom here. So internet tunnels are going to have this IP address space. The MPLS tunnels are going to use this subnet, and we're going to use BGP autonomous system number 65,000. That's what we'll use eventually to peer all the firewalls together. For some of you guys that are looking at these ranges and thinking, what ranges are those? They are well-known ranges for carrier-grade NAT. They're typically seen in service provider networks, and they're not usually they're not publicly routable, so they're intended for like internal use. So we're just being kind of fancy, and we're just using a range that's not typically used. It's only going to be used for our IPSEC overlay tunnels, so it's not a big deal. At the end of this entire series, what we're essentially looking to have, again, is a fully functional Fortinet secure SD-WAN environment. Every site has two connections, an MPLS connection as well as an internet connection. So we're going to build IPSEC tunnels on top of both of those connections, all right, that are going to go back to the hub, which in our case is FortiGate 04, sits up here in the data center. So we're going to have the IPSEC tunnels that sit on top of those underlays. That'll be used for our BGP peerings, our route exchange, and we're also going to try to get what Fortinet calls their automatic discovery virtual private network, or ADVPN. It's essentially just like DMVPN in Cisco world, dynamic multipoint virtual private network. It's the same concept. It's basically spoke-to-spoke direct tunnels that spin up when communication happens. So that'll happen in a few videos from now. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Let's get connected to, we'll start with the MPLS and internet clouds, if you will. So I'm going to bring over my secure CRT terminal, and we will get connected to both of those guys. And I have just a quick script I'm just going to use to copy and paste config just for the sake of time. So what we're going to do on the MPLS side is we're going to define VLAN 192 just because it's easy to remember, considering the MPLS IPs all start with 192. On the internet side, we're going to define VLAN 100 because those subnets begin with 100. And we're going to do nothing more than stick ports 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know 3 is not in use, but we're just going to do a quick range and get all those ports in that VLAN. So nothing fancy, just wanted to kind of give a quick explanation. So for MPLS, like I said, we're going to define VLAN 192, just give it a quick name. We're going to basically take ports 1 through 4, and we're going to define them as a switch port. We're going to put them in mode access. We're going to put them in access VLAN 192, and we'll just do spanning tree port type edge just for convergence reasons. We are going to activate feature interface VLAN, all right, and that will allow us to define an SVI. And in this case, we're going to define interface VLAN 192. We're going to give it the IP address of 192.168.1.254. It's the last IP in the range that we're using for the MPLS. This is actually a typo. Let me fix this. Okay. My apologies there. So all of the branches or every firewall is just going to kind of sit in the same subnet, if you will, for MPLS and the same subnet for internet. And that's fine. Like I said in the intro, I have other videos where I actually tell you or show you how to do a more realistic MPLS cloud and type like things like that. We're not going to be worried about that in these videos. We just want basic connectivity so that we can focus our efforts on the actual subject matter. So this IP address is going to be essentially the gateway or the route that we're going to point our traffic to from all three firewalls' perspectives. Okay. So let me shut that. It already was shut. Okay, good. So what we should see is ports 1 through 4 are in VLAN 192. Obviously that VLAN should be created, which it is. And with any luck, we should see that interface is now up, admin up. So that's perfect. So we are literally going to do the same thing on the internet switch, except we're going to tweak the VLAN and the IP address. So as mentioned, VLAN 100, name will be INET. Same story, we're going to take ports 1 through 4, and we're going to put them in VLAN 100. All right. We'll activate the feature, and we will define. So feature interface VLAN, go into that VLAN 100, no shut it, and assign it a similar address, in this case 100.11254. All right, let's save that really quickly. And then we'll do a quick couple verification commands. So we should see all 4 ports in 100. Perfect. We should see the VLAN created. Obviously that's good. And we should see that interface is now ready to be used. Okay. So let's hop over to firewall number 1. All right. So firewall 1, we are going to assign, based on our keys, .11 for MPLS, .11 for internet, and the internal is 10.110. So where did I put him? Actually, let's do, just because I have the, that's fine, we could do it, it's fine. 10.1.1. So in order to do this, in Fortinet CLI, you type config system interface, and from there you have to type edit, and you can edit the interfaces that you need to apply the configuration to. So in this case, we're going to edit port 1, and we are going to set that IP to 192.168.1.11 with the /24 mask. Okay, we're going to set allow access for ping, so that will allow us to ping that address once it's up and reachable. We'll set the alias to be MPLS. It's like a comment or a description. And then we'll set the status to be up. So that's the equivalent of a no shut in Cisco world. If we type next, it will allow us to edit the next port, which is going to be port 2. All right. Port 2 is the internet port, so we're going to set that IP to be 100.1.1.11 with the /24 mask. Okay, we're going to set allow access for ping, set alias to be INET, and we'll set status to be up. Okay, we'll do next, and last but not least is going to be port 3. That's going to be the port going down to the layer 2 Cisco switch. So edit port 3. We're going to set that IP to be 10.1.1.1 /24 mask. Set allow access ping, set alias, we'll just call it LAN, and we'll set that status to be up. So now we have all three interfaces have an IP address on them and are in the admin up state. Now we have to do a couple static routes just to ensure that we have the reachability that we're looking for here. All right. So what we're going to do to configure the static routes is we're going to config router static. Okay. That takes us into the static router kind of configuration mode, and then it's a similar kind of look and feel. You use edit statements to add routes. Okay. So we're going to say edit 3. All right. We're going to say set the destination. All right. For 192.168, in our case 1.0/24. So I'm basically just saying, hey, if you want to reach anything in that /24 subnet, which is the other firewall's MPLS addresses, I'm identifying that here. Okay, I'm going to tell it that in order to reach those IP addresses in that destination, I need you to follow the gateway of 192.168.1.254, which is the address that we defined on the Nexus 9KV. Okay, so we define that, and then we have to tell it which interface that's going to use. In our case, it's port 1. Okay, so that should define our static route for the MPLS. Now we're going to do the same thing for the internet side. So we're going to say edit 4. We're going to say anything for destination 100.110, all right, /24. Same exact story, right? We're just saying in order to reach anything on that subnet, all right, I want you to go to 100.11254, all right, and we're going to send that out port 2. So same exact, syntax. We're just changing the IPs around. So if we end out of there, we should have the two static routes for the MPLS and the internet. Okay, so I'm going to hop on firewall 2, and I'm going to essentially blast that in a bit faster this time. So firewall 2, like I said, is going to get 12 for the MPLS, 12 for the internet, and the internal will be 10.2.2.1. Okay. So we're going to do all those interfaces. All right, so I'll kind of pause for 1 second so you guys can see the exact same configuration has been applied. It's just the .12s in this case and the 2.2.1 for the LAN side. So for the static routes, we're going to do the same two static routes, literally. So config router static, and we're going to edit 3 and 4, and they're same exact gateways, same port numbers, same everything. So nothing's changed there. All right, and then last but not least, we're going to hop on 04. And 04 should have config system interface. We're going to edit 1. Edit port 1. So port 1's MPLS, we're going to set that IP to 192.168.1.1/24. Set allow access ping, set alias MPLS, set status up, edit port 2, set IP 100.111/24. Okay. And then what was his port 3 is 10.0.0. We'll hold off on that for the moment. We'll come back to that. Because like I said, we're just trying to get base connectivity. I'm not too worried about the inside interfaces just quite yet. It's fine. Let's get... Okay, so, and then we just need the static routes. So, 3 and 4. So config router static, and we're just gonna blast in 3 and 4 as the routes, and like I said, nothing new there. So with any luck, in order to ping from the command line of a firewall in a FortiGate, you do execute ping, and I want to show you this real quick before we do it. You can set, if you do ping options, you can actually set your source. You can do timeouts, you can do repeat counts, that kind of thing. So it's kind of nice. In our case, since we just have connected interfaces, we should be able to just do execute ping. Let's try 192.168.1.11. So that's firewall 1, or that's site 1 firewall. So that looks good. We have our connectivity there. If we ping 12, that should be site 2. Okay, so that looks good. Obviously the gateway is working if we can ping those. And then let's ping the internet side, so 100.1.1.11. Oops. Execute ping 100.1.1.11. Okay, so that looks good. And let's try 12. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's our basic connectivity between site 1, 2, and the data center. All right, so with that, we're going to keep this video quick. We're going to stop there. In the next video, what we will do is layer the VPN on top of this basic connectivity. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.